All right, so today we are going to be looking at a tier list for Black Ops 6 weapons in Search and Destroy. So how good I believe each weapon is for Search and Destroy. I'm keeping an account like how much I use it, how much I see other people use it, and I'll kind of just talk a little bit about the gun and my thoughts about it. So S obviously is the best. It's like something that you can go on, you're going to absolutely dominate every time. A you also can do pretty good at, but like some occasions gonna be like, maybe not the best gun to use for it. B is like you could pretty much do average with it every time, not anything in particular. You have like a really easy lobby or something, but it's like it's good, but it's not amazing. C is just like a very average weapon. Like it gets the job done, but there's a lot of other better options to choose from. D is like, okay, this gun's pretty bad, but if you're a better player or you are like, you've used it a while, it can be a nice weapon. And F is just like, why are you using that for search? Like, why are you using that? And I'm gonna do it like if that is the only weapon you're using. So like, if you have a sniper, I'm gonna do it like if you only can use a sniper, you can't switch to your pistol, you can't knife anything. You just have to stick with just that weapon that you have. So the first gun they have is the PP919. Now, when the game first came out, I feel like this was one of the absolute best weapons in the game. It just felt like an absolute beam from any range. Now it's not necessarily a go-to weapon for me, but I feel it's still pretty top tier. I love using it in Warzone, but we're talking about Search and Destroy. So from the Search and Destroy aspect, it's not like one of the main guns in my rotation, but when I bring it out, I feel like it does pretty good. I think I'll honestly put it at like a B slot because while I feel like it could definitely be an A tier weapon and there could be an argument for it, maybe we'll move it later. Uh, I just don't really find myself like leaning to using it that much. I find other weapons more fun. The GPMG LMG, I barely touched this gun. I don't necessarily think any of the LMGs are like buns, but like so many better options to use, and I just feel like I'm gonna have to put this one at a D tier because I don't feel like it's one of the best LMGs. The 9mm pistol. Now, this is the pistol that when I first started, I was using this thing because you could shoot it pretty quickly, and it felt like I had good damage. I haven't used it in a while, so honestly, I don't have like a good fresh memory of it, and I don't feel like I died to it often. I feel like I died to the Grakova or the Strider pistol way more than the 9mm pistol. Uh, but I mean, I think it's a really good pistol. I think it's not the hardest thing to get kills with. But like, why are you using it for search? Why would you purposely use this instead of using a actual like AR? You're very limited on your range here. For that reason, taking it into account for search and destroy, I think that this is also going to go into the D tier. The PU-21 LMG is actually one of my favorite of the LMGs. I feel like it's really solid. You can have some type of good movement with it, and it does good damage. I honestly think it's probably going to go into the C tier here. It's my favorite LMG by far. Okay, now the GPR-91. This assault rifle was one of my favorites, but for some reason, it's a skill issue thing for me. I struggle aiming with it. I've gotten better now, but for a bit, I just could not shoot straight with that gun. Like, I did not have the ability whatsoever to shoot straight with this gun. So I think that I would have to say that this AR is amazing. It has no recoil, basically. You can kill somebody from any range. You have quite the like you could use it at a lot of different angles on different maps. It's very versatile. I think this is going to be our first A tier weapon. Do I think you're going to absolutely slam every single lobby with it? You can, especially if you're really good with it. But I just think there's some better weapons. I feel like this is a very easy beginner friendly weapon, but it lacks like that extra stopping power. Now the AEK, this is the gun that in COD I have the most kills with right now because when I was grinding from the Prestige Master, this is the gun that I use the most. I think I have somewhere around 5,000 kills with it. But then they nerfed it pretty heavily on its fire rate. It's still very strong, but the fire rate got completely nerfed. At one point, this gun was definitely S tier. As it is right now, it's not even part of my rotation. I don't find it very enjoyable to use. It can still absolutely beam if you're very accurate with it. I feel like at this point it's probably a better mouse and keyboard weapon, but I can't really speak on that as I'm not a mouse and keyboard player. As it is right now, I would say it is in the C tier, but I would say it is above the P. And then as far as these, I would say the GPMG is probably better than the pistol. I hate shotguns. I cannot stand shotguns. Um, and I feel like they're pretty weak in this game, which I'm very thankful for. I've barely, and I mean barely, died to shotguns in this game. My lobbies do not carry shotgun users whatsoever. And but this thing in close range, if used in the right hands, it's not an F tier weapon. But like, I'm gonna put it for this shotgun. I'm gonna put this at the middle of C tier for now, right? Oh, middle of C. Hello, middle of C tier. I think that's a pretty good. Frostline is just unfortunately a hit marker machine. Super quick to use, but how many hit markers it gives you does not let it be S, A, or even B tier. I would choose any of the other snipers, even the SVD, over the Frostline, just because of how many hit markers you get with this thing. So I'm gonna put it at right below the AEK, just because of how many hit markers you get with that gun. If it didn't get as many and they buffed the damage on it, absolutely would be like such a fun weapon to use. But just because of that reason, I have to put it at C tier. The Model L. Now, this gun, very similar to the GPR, very easy to use, but I feel like its range, I feel like its recoil is a little bit increased, but I feel like its damage is a little bit better. Now, I could be wrong. This is just how I feel about it. I'm not actually looking at statistics. I have no clue if that's actually the case or not. But I think it is gonna be the first S tier weapon because I feel like you, in the right hands, you are gonna get aces all day long in Search and Destroy with the model. I've gotten a lot of good clips with it. Before I was actually clipping stuff, I've gotten like really good game with it. So I think the S tier is just the perfect spot for the model. I think it is a beautiful weapon. The Goblin is a very overhated weapon. It's a single shot weapon. A lot of people would put it right into F. A lot of people, when they were doing their camel grinding, they were like, this is the worst gun to use. I hated using it. Couldn't stand it. I mean, I've gotten aces with the Goblin before. And I think it's a little bit overhated. Now, do I think it's like A tier, S tier, or even B tier gun? No, not really. Not for me. Um, but I think it's C tier, and I would probably put it. Honestly, I rather use the Goblin than the AEK at this point, so I'm gonna put it right there at the top. Strider pistol. I know this is this choice for ranked play, but honestly, I think this is the weakest pistol. Like I can't stand this pistol, and if I had to go Strider only in search, I think I would go negative every game. Now that could be a skill issue thing. I don't know, but I'm absolutely putting that in F tier. I hate that pistol, and I think it's buns. On the other hand, the Grekova, that is absolutely my favorite pistol. Honestly, I've gotten really good like saves from this Grekova. Do I think it's better than using the PP? No, but I think it's better than using any of these things, any of these and any of these. And I think it's going to go on B tier. Like I think it could literally be a little mini SMG, and it's amazing. Now the AK-74 at first I thought was really bad because of how much recoil it has, but when you get used to the recoil on it, it's honestly very strong, and it can get the job done multiple times, like against multiple enemies. Like it's really could be a strong weapon. I just haven't used it that much. So I'm gonna say I think it's in a different, it's not in the C tier range. However, I have a lack of experience at it, so I'm gonna put it probably the very bottom of B tier for me. The SVD sniper, not many people use it, but I feel like it shoots quick. If you want to put a cheesy scope on it, like a red dot or something, you can actually like go around just one-shotting people with this thing, because surprisingly, it doesn't get as many hit markers as you would expect from a semi-auto sniper. And I also think this is a B tier sniper. Like it's better than the Frostline in my opinion, just because of its power and speed. And I'm gonna put it right above the AK-74, but it's another gun that I have barely touched besides when I was getting Dark Matter. Now the GS45 pistol is one of the strongest pistols. Um, I've also not used it that much. I did use it in a 1v1 before when I was like helping my one of my friends to like learn better like how to 1v1 people. And I used this against them and I was able to win with it. And they were using a like an actual gun. But I think that in most cases in a normal lobby, if you're going GS45 only with this, you're going to be struggling. I don't think it's better than any of these guns. Um, for that reason, I think it's also going to go in D tier, but it's going to go right above that LMG because honestly, I think I'd rather use this pistol than that LMG. Just a personal preference. Aims, it's not even a question. That is an absolute S tier weapon. Such power, such easy control, great mobility. That's definitely above the model. It's been a strong weapon. It is absolutely fantastic. And it's good in rank play, search and destroy as well. Like, this gun has so many pros, and I can't even really think of any cons of it on. It is an amazing, strong weapon. And if for some reason you haven't given the aims a chance, I would highly suggest you do. Now, the SWAT, as of recording this, I just uploaded an ace that I got with the SWAT. But that was me because I was like, you know what? Let me use a gun I haven't ever really touched, and let's see what I can do. And it just happened to have a good game with the SWAT. But it's not a weapon that I really run to that often. Off the rip, I'm already thinking this is like a in the B tier range. I think it's actually better than the AEK right now. But I'm trying to think I think it's better than the SVD, but I don't think it's better than Grekova. I think I'd rather go Grekova than SWAT. I think that's a really fair spot. I feel it's a very average gun. But it's a little bit above average because it's really strong if you hit those burst shots with it. But that's what you get with the burst, like strong, but you gotta have good accuracy with it. Okay, now the HE1 launcher. Let's be so for real. The launchers is going to go into bottom of F tier because the launchers are so unbelievably weak in this game. Even without flak jacket, you're getting hit markers often, and so many people do actually use flak jacket. So it's just like you could hit them with you're gonna hit them with one launcher. You're gonna reload it. If you somehow are able to reload your launcher and hit that same person, they've already healed by the time that rocket is reloaded. So you're just gonna get another hit marker. It's not worth your time. And this ASG shotgun, I'm so thankful that it's buns because I would hate if I was dying to this all the time. But I also think this is an F tier shotgun. I think it is straight dookie. Maybe this is a skill issue thing too, but I can't stand it. I think it is so hard to use. I do bad. Anytime I try using this for fun, I get challenged to use it sometimes by my friends. I'll be like, give me a random gun. They'll give me this thing. And I'm just like in misery. It is not good. It's bad. Really, really bad. I think I'd rather use the Strider pistol than the ASG shotgun. The Tanto is a gun that I've been very up and down with. There's times that I'm like, Tanto is my favorite gun in the game, and there's other times that I'm like, Tanto, I absolutely can't use it. It sucks as buns. And I don't know why it feels very inconsistent to me. But I think it is definitely better than the Grekova and all those other weapons, but I don't think it's better than the PP. So I'm thinking that this is like the perfect spot for it right there. The Jackal is my favorite gun. You'll see the most clips with me with the Jackal as it is right now. It is the mobility you have, the recoil control it has, the damage that it does. Everything about this gun is literally what you want in a weapon. It is so far beyond any other of the guns in the game. I could make a own tier for it called Jackal, and that would go like 2 tiers above this S1. Like, I am the Jackal's biggest fan. It feels like you're freaking shooting a majestic weapon every time you have this thing in your hands, and I love it. It is my favorite gun by far, not even a competition. Like, the distance between the Jackal and the Ames for me is as far as we are from the furthest planet. Now, the AS Val is a gun that I really hated at first, but once I started getting some experience with it, I felt like it was a little bit better. Um, but honestly, I've been struggling with it recently. I don't know if they changed anything or if I just gotten so used to using like guns like the Jackal that other guns started feeling like more like cheeks. So I think I'm gonna put the AS Val at the think a B tier is a good spot for it. I rather use it than the Tanto, but I rather pick the PP over the AS Val. And now looking at this list now, I think it's time that I'm gonna do a little bit of. I think the PP is gonna go to the A tier, and I think that's a lot better. The Sarkov, barely touched it. It's very difficult because if you get shot first, if you're the first person getting shot first and you have the Sarkov, unless you hit that headshot, you are dead because it takes quite a long time in between each shot. You don't really have much potential to win gunfights if you're not the person seeing them first. So it does require a little bit of skill to use this gun. I think it's far harder to use than the Goblin, and I would rather use all those guns. I think it's going to go D tier for me as well. It's a strong weapon and you can do good with it, but it's very difficult to use it correctly. Knifing only. Now, for some people, this could be really high. There's some people that are really good at doing knifing only. I'm not one of those people, unfortunately. Like I am quite bad at taking knife only routes. If I do try it, I'm going to go negative every time. I feel like I'm at such a disadvantage. So, while I know probably a lot of people would disagree with this, for me, in my own experience, I have to put knifing only like below the shotgun. Like I do not find it enjoyable at all to not be able to shoot people back. And the baseball bat I find a little bit more fun to use just because you can like grab people. So honestly, I'd put probably the baseball bat above the ASG shotgun and above the Strider, but it's also going to be really down there in the F tier. Like I don't find it necessarily much better. But at least with the baseball bat, I could like grab somebody if they walk in front of me and then get the XM4. Some people could put it in the S tier, and I think it is honestly very debatable. But I just think it's such a basic gun. It's the first gun you start with. It's like the gun that I feel like I've died to the most. I'm so bored and tired of it. Anytime somebody on my team, or I'm like boring, use something different. So I can't put it any lower than the A tier. I would be lying to myself, but I'm not putting it in the S tier. Now, the compact SMG, I feel like, is one of the most difficult SMGs to get a grasp of because it can be very recoil heavy until you get the right attachments on it. But once you start getting a feel for it, this gun, close range, is absolutely ripping everybody. And I think it's going to be the second SMG that we're going to put into the S tier. But it's definitely below all these. But I think it is definitely better than the rest of these. Depending on the map, it's very map dependent of a gun. You're not going to want to probably be using bigger maps, but on a smaller map, if you got the compact and you take the right routes with that compact, they're doomed. I've gotten some really good kills with that I'm like, how in the world? C9 is a gun that everybody was using at the start. Now I feel like it's really fell off and I barely died to it. However, looking at this list, I think that it's still A tier weapon, but it's gonna go for me right below the PP. I'd rather use the PP than the C9, but the C9 is still a pretty fun one to go to. The XMG LMG, I haven't used it in quite a long time, basically since I got Dark Matter, and that was like months ago at this point. So with that in mind, I can't even think of the last time I've died to this LMG or have used it or seen it. Like I've no experience with this gun. So to me, I feel like it's just not a very used gun. I'm gonna put this in the D tier. I'm gonna put this right next to the other LMG because I don't have much experience to really talk about. The KSV SMG is for me the third best SMG in the game. I think it has surprisingly good range. I honestly rather use it than the GPR and the XM4. But I think realistically, it's not better than the XM4. It's probably not better than the GPR either, but for me, my own experience, it is. I have fun using the KSV and every time I decide to use it, I have a good time. Sigma launcher, obviously, once again, it's a launcher. It's buns. It's not going to get you the job done in search. Not really that great. Now the LR sniper. This is a very good sniper. It doesn't get hit markers like the Frost line. It's a little bit slower, but with the right build, and if you're an actual sniper, this gun is absolutely going to be A tier. And I think it's probably gonna realistically go. I would put it right here in between the C9 and the PP because you can get mostly not hit markers. You're gonna get good gameplay consistently with it as long as you're a good sniper. I'm not the best sniper. I'm trying to get better at it here and there, but for me, this is just far and beyond the top tier sniper, at least out of here. Now I'm gonna talk about some of the guns that are not here because they're the DLC ones. Um, but for me, it goes right here, the LR. The DM10, I actually like this one. I kind of like the single fire guns in this game. I feel like this one is a little bit better than the Goblin. It would even, I think, make its way up to the B tier. But it's probably realistically gonna go at the very bottom of B tier. And see, we have quite the range. Like I think we've spread stuff out. We haven't like been too nice to anything. Everything's got pretty consistent ratings. Now I'm going off the top of my head. I might miss some weapons, but this is like an older one that was made probably when the game came out. So I'm gonna also come out with the DLC weapons that I can think of at least. I'm sorry if I forget one off the top of my head, but the Siren special secondary, for me, it feels like it's very weak. Like it's a very weak SMG. It's easy to use, or not SMG, special weapon. Easy to use, but it feels like it's weak and misses damage. So I would put it in, if I had a picture to put it, it would be right probably below the 9mm pistol. I don't rely on that SMG or special for anything. The power drill. It's pretty much the same thing as the baseball bat, but it has a really annoying sound with it. The sound, I hate it. I haven't even got it dark matter yet because I just couldn't stand hearing that stupid drilling noise it makes. I would put it underneath the knife. The cleaver. The cleaver, it looks clean. I like it. But it's essentially just a knife. So right underneath the ASG shotgun is, or the cleaver. And the new sniper, the AMR, I think it's called. The AMR sniper. That one, I think, is the best sniper. And because you can spam it and it has really quick fire rate and never gets hit markers. You're so rarely are you getting a hit marker with it. I think that is the S tier sniper, and I would probably put it above the compact and above the model. I put it right here in third place. So my top 3 weapons for Search and Destroy, I would say, is the Jackal, the Ames, and the AMR sniper. That is my list. So this is my tier ranking. Let me know if there's anything that you really disagree on or you agree on. I know this is a pretty long video. Man is like, how long is he gonna yap for? But that's the point. I'm here to talk about it. 23 minutes talking about the guns I like. And now I get ready to go work for hours and have a good time doing that because I actually enjoy my job. And thank you for watching. Let me know, if anybody's watching this and got to this point, let me know what kind of video. Would you want any other tier rankings? Would you want side of gameplay? Let me know what you find interesting. Thanks for watching.